Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. Welcome to another edition of the Disco Deep Dive, where I take a look at the Easter eggs, canon connections, and continuity bits from a recent episode of Star Trek Discovery. This episode is all about the penultimate episode of Discovery's third season, There Is a Tide. Warning for spoilers: if you've not seen the episode, you may wish to hit skip on this video. A pretty short installment this week. There weren't a ton of callbacks and Easter eggs that I found, but if there were any that I missed, of course, please let me know in the comments. To start out with, we meet Osira's lieutenant, apparently named Kanak, according to the closed captioning and the closing credits. She is of a familiar species that we have seen before in Star Trek, specifically the character of Kima in the Short Treks episode Children of Mars. This was the prequel episode to the Star Trek Picard television series. The species never got a name in that episode or this one, but it's pretty clear that Kanak is of that species. Federation headquarters comes under attack by Osira and the USS Discovery in this episode, and if you listen closely, the alert noise inside headquarters is the same as the USS Voyager's red alert sound from the series Star Trek Voyager.
How long has Discovery been under attack, and why didn't we sit in our long-range sensors?
They jumped into range with the Viridian attached.
Osira found a way to compromise the mycelial field.
Seems so. Both vessels bear ionic residue consistent with signatures from the Veruba Nebula.
Report! It looks like the Kazon have retreated, Captain. We must have hurt them.
Burnham and Book make a daring landing in Discovery's shuttle bay. This was reminiscent of the Emergency Landing Plan B scene from Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. In that film, Sulu crashes the shuttle into the Enterprise's shuttle bay, much like Book does with his ship in this episode. This episode sees the return of a familiar actor, but not necessarily a familiar face. Kenneth Mitchell returns to Star Trek Discovery, this time playing the role of Aurelio. He has previously appeared in both preceding seasons of Discovery, playing 3 different characters. In Season 1, he played the Klingon Kol of the House Kor. In Season 2, he played Kol's father, Kolsha, as well as the son of Vok and L'Rell, namely Tanavik, in the episode Through the Valley of Shadows. His appearance here is the first time he has appeared as a non-Klingon character, and it's really nice to see his actual face. At one point in the episode, Book mentions the Theskian Exchange. This is a bit of a deep dive and may just be a coincidence, but Theskians are an alien race mentioned in the Star Trek The Next Generation novel Metamorphosis. They've never appeared in any sort of canon Star Trek before, but they are said to be related to Andorians, sharing several characteristics with them. During the negotiations between Vance and Osira, she brings up Deep Space 253. It seems that in the intervening centuries, Starfleet has greatly expanded the number of deep space stations. I have to admit, when she started saying Deep Space, I was really excited for her to say Deep Space Nine. However, Deep Space 253 is definitely an interesting number to hear as well. So apparently there are a great number of deep space stations out there. Also interesting from this scene is their discussion of the Federation engaging in capitalism. It's of course long been shown that the Federation is a post-scarcity society, and capitalism is no longer something that is practiced, at least by the Federation. Things have obviously changed, of course, in the centuries since we last saw the Federation in Star Trek canon, and it appears that the recent hardships have caused some parts of the Federation to fall back on what at this time would be an archaic system. And finally, at the end of the episode, we get to see the sphere data has incorporated itself into a number of .23s. This is the first time we get a number for these particular robots. We met the .7s in the Season 2 finale of Star Trek Discovery, so it seems as though there have been many different iterations of this particular robot over the course of the last few centuries, so much so that 23 seems actually a pretty low number for this generation, if it truly has been 900 years. So it's kind of surprising that that number is actually that low, but maybe there's a 7A, 7B, 7C, that kind of thing. But it was still very interesting to finally get an actual designation for these robots. Well, those were all the Easter eggs and canon connections I found for There Is a Tide. As always, were there any that I missed? Please let me know in the comments below. As I said, definitely a shorter round this week, but I'm definitely looking forward to the season finale. I'm sure there's going to be lots of really cool little references and tidbits in there for us to dissect. And then that's it for Star Trek Discovery for the season. So, yeah, I've really been enjoying this. I can't wait, like I said, for the final episode. I'll try and have that video out a little earlier than I have over the course of the last season. Thank you, of course, as always, to the Patreon supporters for all of their help in bringing these episodes to you. I really could not do it without you. Thank you so very, very much. To everyone else, thank you for watching. That's really the best thing you can possibly do for the channel. I'll see you all in the next episode. Until then, as always, live long and prosper.